Video number 4 for the class Orality and Oral Cultures. Thank you guys for showing up and being a part of this. Thank you again, Bennett, for being the return guy to, you heard the story last time. So
I'm a fan boy.
we're going to recover the last story again, and we're going to go through that. And do you remember what the story was last week that we talked about?
It was about Jesus and the demon boys and the pigs.
Yeah. So I'm going to retell that story, and then we'll go off the foundation of that story, leading into questions and some points we're going to make for the following story that we're going to be reading this week. So last week, Jesus was on a boat with his disciples, and he gets off the boat, off the sea, and these 2 demon-possessed men approach them. Now, these men were extremely violent. These men were so violent that no one could pass that way. And they come up to Jesus and they shout at him, "What have you to do with us, Son of Man? Have you come to torment us before the time?" Now, nearby, there was this herd of pigs, and they were off in the distance, and the demons said to him, "If you cast us out, send us into the pigs." And so Jesus commands them and says, "Go." And immediately the demons leave the 2 men, go into the pigs, and then the pigs rush down the steep bank into the water and drown. Now, the herdsmen who were with the pigs then run into town to tell everyone what had happened, especially what happened with the 2 demon-possessed men. And the townsfolk came out to see Jesus, and when they had saw the man and they'd seen him, they begged him to leave. So, what was one of the story points that we learned from last time, if you remember that?
So Jesus had authority over the demons.
Right. So some of the things we pointed out was that Jesus had authority over the storms, he had authority over sickness, and he had authority over demons. Now we're going to put a little more into the puzzle today. So Jesus is also going to demonstrate his authority. I want you to watch for where Jesus shows his authority, and then ask yourself, what does it mean, the authority that Jesus is showing? So we're going to be telling the story. Jesus is preaching in the house. So he's in this house, he's teaching, and this large crowd has come around and they're here to listen to Jesus. They've filled the whole house and they've covered the door so that no one else can get there. Now there was a sick man and his 4 friends, and they could not get their friend to Jesus. So they climb the roof and they dig a hole into the top of the roof. They just tear it open, and they lower their friend on his mat down in front of Jesus. Now Jesus looks down at the man and he says, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now, there were some scribes and some religious leaders that were in the area listening to Jesus, and they were thinking to themselves, "Why does he say this? That's blasphemy. No one can forgive sins except God." And so, but Jesus, he knows what they're thinking. So he says to them, "Why are you thinking this way? Is it easier to say to a man, 'Get up and walk,' or 'Your sins are forgiven'? But so that you will know that the Son of Man has authority to forgive sins as well," he looks down at the man now, and he says to him, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." And immediately the man gets up, rolls up his mat, and leaves. And the crowds were astonished by this, and they said, "We have never seen anything like this before." So, what do we learn about Jesus' authority here?
Authority over sin.
Authority over sin? Okay. Yeah, so it's not just his sickness. What are we learning from this then? Jesus has authority over sin. What does this tell us?
It's pretty powerful.
Powerful?
Yeah, because if he can forgive sin, then it's kind of a big deal when sin is a problem in the world.
Right. We're learning something about who Jesus is. Now, before, we've known that he's very powerful, that he's got power over wind, he's got power over waves, he's got power over sickness. Again, he shows his power over sickness, but his authority extends more than just power over sickness. In fact, what does it the scribes say? Like, Who is it that can forgive sins?
Say God.
That's right. God is the one who can forgive sins. Jesus is saying that he has forgiven this man's sin. The scribes say that was blasphemy. So what is his response to what they're thinking?
Well, he knows.
He knows. He knows exactly what they're thinking, and he addresses it. He tells them that he has that authority to forgive sins. So, who wants to try to retell that story the way I told it?
Colton does.
No. You're the seminarian.
Y'all can help each other out as well. So I mean, someone just can start
Colton,
trying to
you
tell
start.
it, and if you
Well,
need to fill in details, the rest of the guys can help you out.
All right. So, Jesus was in a house with a group of people, likely teaching them of some sort, correct?
Right.
And the crowds were so immense that people couldn't get through the door. So there were some friends and another friend who was likely disabled of some sort and couldn't move, and they couldn't get him to Jesus to heal. So they went to the extreme, and they went on top of the roof, and they removed a portion of the roof so that they could lower their friend and him to get him before Jesus, because they believed in his power to heal him. And so they've lowered him there, they've got him before Jesus, and Jesus basically forgives his sin there, and he commands him to get up and go and walk, and the man goes and walks.
Anyone had any extra details to add there?
Well, so he addresses the forgiveness of sins,
Right.
and he doesn't heal the sickness right away.
Right.
And all of the people are sitting around thinking, can he do that? Is that real? And Jesus read their minds, knew what they were thinking, addresses that, and sort of as a proof, almost, it seems, he asks the man to also get up and walk, kind of saying which is harder to do. And then, sure enough, dude's healed, and he walks on out of there.
Anything to add?
No, these two men did a very good job.
Got it. All right. So something I just want to leave y'all with this, thinking about as we're building these stories together, and you're finding out more about authority and these details about Jesus and such, we're learning some deeper-ish points here now about the identity of Jesus. So that's kind of what I want to leave you with, is thinking about what is the identity of Jesus? What is he saying about himself and who he is? So not only does he have authority, why does he have authority? How is it that he has authority? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Teacher Mark.